Welcome back to another episode of The Natty Teacher. I'm, of course, your host, who else but The Natty Teacher. And today, we have our second leg day of the week, our leg B session. A couple of big movers in this one. Got a good heavy hinge movement today. We got good leg press movement, quite a bit of volume into that leg press. So that'll be fun for sure. I'm excited. Well, let's lay out the session real quick. We'll just introduce the session right away, just to kind of get you guys up to par, up to date, see what we're looking at. So we got some mobility work to get started. We do have a little bit of core work to start today. So a couple rounds of planks and then some direct ab work as well in the form of some body weight decline crunches. After that, that's when we will get into some mobility work, get the legs kind of rocking and rolling and rolling and rocking. Then we have 3 total working sets, of course, after all the warm-ups and all that. 3 working sets of lying hamstring curls. Then we will move into leg press right off the bat. So get the hamstrings nice and primed up, ready to rock, but try not to overly fatigue the legs. I really want to put as much, stimulus into leg press as I possibly can, or get the most out of it. So use the most amount of weight for the most amount of reps for that particular exercise. After that, we have 2 working sets. Well, I think I said that, 3 working sets of leg press. If not, 3 working sets of leg press. After that, we'll have 2 working sets of some stiff-legged deadlifts. So I've been kind of playing around with RDLs for a while, got pretty strong on them, and feel pretty confident with them. But to be honest with you, I never really feel them in my hamstrings how I want to. Definitely feel them in other body parts as well. Not to say that I want to isolate the hamstrings with RDLs, but I don't feel the hamstrings as much as I would like to for that particular exercise. So I'm going back to an oldie but a goodie. Some good old barbell stiff-legged deadlifts. Now, when I say stiff-legged deadlifts, guys, please know that I don't necessarily mean 100% no bend in the leg to where it's I'm locking out my knees. It's really dangerous. Definitely not going to do that, especially when you get heavier and heavier with that particular movement. But what I do mean is that we're going to have a slight bend, slight hinge in the knee, nothing like an RDL though, definitely quite a bit, stiffer than that. And of course, using a barbell will actually lower the plates to the floor, so all the way to the floor. I'm not going to do a deficit or anything like that, just regular standing stiff-legged deadlifts. That is the plan. So, and then after that, we'll end with some, I usually like to throw in a little bit of higher rep work. We'll see how if the knees are feeling, good, then we might lower the reps a little bit. But if the knees are feeling pretty torqued at that point, we'll keep the reps a little bit higher. And I just do some single leg extensions and then calves in the form of some toe press. And that's it. That'll be it, yeah. So relatively efficient session, probably about 1.5 hours to 2 hours total, including all warm-ups and core work and all that kind of stuff. So when I say I'm in the gym for 2 hours, please don't think that 2 hours is working sets only. That is 2 hours of warming up, getting nice and loose and ready to rock and roll, getting mobile, all that kind of fun jazz. So it is, a couple hours worth of, a good chunk of time of that, a couple hours, is getting ready to rock for the session for sure, and being primed as possible. So what have we done so far today? Well, we've gotten 2 meals in so far. Because it is leg day, we do not have cardio on leg days. So that is just kind of part of my off-season training plan for right now. So trying to make sure that we have essentially 0 fatigue and inflammation in the legs before each session. And we're actually doing one other change. 2025 has been this year of revolution for the Natty Teacher so far. Okay, for myself, talking about myself in the third person is always interesting. Regardless, one of the things that I've really been focused on this year is recovery. Okay, what can I do to recover better? What can I do to be better in the gym, outside of the gym, all that kind of fun jazz? What do my warm-ups look like? What does my mobility work look like? All that kind of fun stuff. What does it look like? And one conclusion that kept on ringing back in my head was rest days, and how I'm training 6 days in a row and have 1 rest day. And I'm like, man, I just feel like right now with where my strength is getting, it's just not enough. I just don't feel recovered enough, even with good sleep and with proper hydration, and my meals are on point, all that kind of fun jazz. I very rarely have off-plan meals, and that'll actually be even fewer and further between, starting off 2025. So it's just I feel like everything's on point, but yet I still feel like I just cannot fully recover. I'm walking into sessions and I still feel a little tight, still feel a little sore, feel like I'm just not getting the most out of my recovery. And the conclusion that I've come to is that I need to not change my split, because I love push-pull legs, I do, but I need to find a way to add more rest time in there. And it's very simple, and it's one that a lot of bodybuilders do, and it's one that I've ignored for a while, that has been on my brain, but that I keep pushing back, and I'm like, nah, just stick to it, you're making progress, because I do feel like I'm making good progress, but I also feel like I could be making more, better, efficient, quality progress if I make one little change. And so as of next week, and this will, I don't think, really affect uploads too much, if at all. As of next week, just purely because this week it wouldn't really make any sense to do this, starting next week, I am going to be running a push-pull legs rest split. So it will actually be push-pull legs rest, push-pull legs rest. That is one full training week, which is a total of 8 days. That is one full training block. Well, a block is usually multiple weeks, but one full week of training for me is so it'll be push-pull legs off, push-pull legs off. Okay, so every fourth day will be a rest day, which means that before I train any body part, which is, I love this part, I will always have 4 full sleeps before body part. So like, let's say I hit push Sunday, I'm not going to be hitting push again until Thursday now, so that I get a full extra day of rest, let everything heal up, be ready to rock and roll, so I can keep volume in a decent spot. Not too much, of course, but keep volume in a decent spot and really get the most out of my recovery. Okay, so I'm excited. Again, that starts this upcoming week. So again, uploads really shouldn't change too much, because I'll still have those first 3 recorded to spread out amongst that first week, and then I'll have the next 3 recorded to spread out amongst the week after that. So it might change a little bit, but still expect 3 uploads a week at the minimum here. So we're on a good little streak of uploads here. I want to keep that rocking and rolling for sure. So yeah, so I'm very, very excited about that. I talked it over with my wife, who, when you get to the point in bodybuilding where, or I shouldn't even say this, obviously I'm still very much so an amateur, but when you get a little older, I'm 29, I am married, I have a daughter, I have a house, like all of these great things, and I'm not trying to brag. What I'm more saying is I have responsibilities. I have things that I have to be very conscious of. So even like changes in my split, that could affect what days I pick my daughter up from certain houses, and for babysitters, and what days my wife is going to be getting home at certain times, maybe later than others, when she's working and all that kind of stuff. It does make a difference. And so I talked it over with my wife this morning. It was a quick conversation, and because I know she really supports my journey with this and sees what I see out of this. She's very much so super supportive, and was very much so on board with me switching to that. I think she even thought it was a really good idea. So it's awesome. It's awesome to have a partner on your side who sees what you see and wants to see you fulfill your dreams. And so, for her, this is, it's definitely motivating for me, put it that way. It makes, her and my daughter definitely pop into my head a lot when I'm working out, and I think they will even more here this year. They hold a very special place in my heart, and they are absolute motivation. Like I know for a fact that I've become a better bodybuilder since meeting my wife and us having our daughter, for sure. 1,000% I've become a better bodybuilder, and I plan on taking that much, much, much further than I have so far. So very excited for that. Yeah, so that will be the new schedule. Again, split is the same, workouts are the same. It's just one additional rest day in there. So we were able to work that out to where for our schedules that shouldn't be a drastic change. Obviously, there will be some days I'll be working out on Saturdays now, which is usually my consistent rest day. But then, some days I'll have, like next week, for example, it'll be like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday rest, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday rest. So then I'll have like a Sunday off. So it's, again, gonna rotate. But, it's one of those things where I'm excited about it. I'm very excited about it. And I know that it'll be very, very beneficial for my physical and also mental health. So mini rant over. The first thing you guys will see is the top set of lying hamstring curls, nice and controlled, of course. So top set of those lying hamstring curls coming at you right about now. All right, so up first, per usual, we got some lying hamstring curls. We're coming up hard out of the bottom, making sure that pad touches the booty or the upper part of the hamstrings here, and controlling that eccentric on the way down. I like to do kind of I don't know, excelled 3 count. So like here, I'll give you an example. So bring it up, and then it's like 1, 2, 3. So kind of a good count like that. So really, really controlling that eccentric, really stretching those hamstrings out on the way down. Feeling every bit of that weight on the hamstrings on the way down, man, and going from there. So usually top sets here, I like to keep in that 8 to 12 rep range. I think we were at kind of the lower end of that, but this was also a pretty steep increase in weight from the prior week, so I was happy with that. So definitely some good progress there. 3 total working sets, all right? Then, ooh boy, howdy. Okay, I've kind of figured out my my leg press, for a lack of better terms. For a while there, I was, putting way too much flexion on the knees, which might sound like a good thing. It's a good thing, right? Well, it's like, it was really wrenching on my knees. I kind of found a nice sweet spot for both strength and also getting a lot of knee flexion out of this particular movement. And so I've been consistent with doing leg press every week now as kind of my primary mover for the quads, and also just overall leg development in my second leg session of the week. So you'll see like my squat pattern on my first leg session of the week, and then this being my second one, the primary mover here, or the bigger, quote, bigger exercise, one of 2 bigger exercises actually, is the leg press. Now, leg press for me, I like to keep in those higher rep ranges, but not with light weight. Like I like to, challenge myself to where I'm going to have to catch my breath maybe once or twice for each set to really get it, a few extra reps here and there. So you'll see me like right here, I think I got, 12 or 13 or something like that. And like the number I had in my mind was between 15 and 17. And I think we were towards the top end of that. So really, really just getting the most work out of this exercise as we possibly can. But I'm a huge fan of the leg press, especially when you find that sweet spot for knee flexion where it doesn't bother your knees, but you can get, really, really load those quads up. And again, lately I have really found that spot. So again, 3 working sets of lying hamstring curls, 3 working sets of leg press here, all with that same top set weight. So just still trying to keep them, all those sets again, in that like 12 to 15, 12 to 20 type rep range, but with heavier weight still. Okay. So good amount of load and, good amount of reps, of course. So after that, not really a new movement because I've done this movement before, but I will say that it is kind of a newer movement, at least in the split, for hinging at least, and that is a stiff-legged deadlift. I went a little bit more conservative with my stiff-legged deadlifts here. You can see there's a little slight arch in the back, but to be honest with you, man, I'm really not overly concerned about it. It is still pretty much as straight as board, so I'm not overly concerned about, a very slight bit of kind of not even really rounding, but just kind of a little bit of an arch. That's totally fine. This one really, really stretches out the hamstring super, super well. I've struggled with hinging, not as far as strength for hinging, but just feeling that. I've done my heavy barbell RDLs, heavy dumbbell RDLs, and this is the one that is, I would argue, one of, if not the most challenging here, are those complete dead stop barbell stiff-legged deadlifts. And man, you are going to stretch the crap out of your hamstrings here. There's still a slight bend in the knee, so please don't think that I'm like locking out my knees. That's really dangerous, especially over long-term use like that. But I am absolutely keeping those legs stiffer, much, much stiffer than like an RDL or something like that, and going from there. So this was 2 1/4 here, did a top set of 10, and then I think a second set of 8 or 10. I think it was 8. Yeah, it was 8 on that second set. So again, kind of played a little more conservatively. We'll definitely jump up and weight a little bit in our next session, which for me is actually tomorrow. Then some single leg extensions here. Obviously, I'll only show the one leg, slightly pointing that toe ever so much so towards the actual weight itself. Not super, super crazy, but kind of aligning that knee correctly, really squeezing the top of the thigh, that rectus femoris, so that, nice juicy part of the upper thigh. It makes the quads really pop in the top when you have more and more of that. That's been a huge difference for me as far as my leg development, is developing that particular area of the quads and making them pop a lot more. So again, 2 working sets of those barbell stiff-legged deadlifts, 2 working sets of some single leg extensions here, and then we did 3 working sets of some toe press. All right, leg B session in the freaking books. Man, it was nice to just pull some weight from the floor like that. Those stiff-legged deadlifts the barbell. I was actually very happy with that. A little rounding in the upper back towards the end of the set, but honestly, that's just something I can continue to work on, and I'm not overly opposed to having a little bit of rounding in the upper back, you know, in those later sets when that, you know, area starts to fatigue a little bit just from holding that weight. But yeah, I was very happy with that. It just felt good. That actually felt like a good hinging movement in my hamstrings. I didn't feel like I was just like moving weight and just working through a little bit in the hamstrings and the glutes and all that kind of fun jazz. That actually felt like a proper hinging movement in the hamstrings. So you can bet I am definitely going to keep that one in the rotation, and we're going to progressively overload that one for a while. Just felt good. Felt good working with a barbell, just you know, grabbing some decent, well, not like super heavy weight. It was like 275, so it's not like super heavy weight, but grabbing some decent weight and just, you know, pulling from the floor, nice and stiff, all that, you know, little bend in the knees, but, you know, mainly pretty stiff. Just felt good, man. It was fun. Great session, added weight to everything, reps, it was awesome. Maybe not reps so much, but definitely weight, for sure. It was a lot of fun. That was a fun session. Felt really good, felt nice and strong. Took my time, you know, getting warmed up in my mobility stuff and getting the knees nice and primed up. That is definitely a weak point for me, is my knees. My knee health is, you know, very hit or miss. You know, I could even tell at the end of my session today in my extensions that I was definitely getting a little bit of that knee pain, so I got to be cautious of that, but not too bad, just a little stiff for sure. So continuing to do that mobility work and proper warm-ups and all that, you know, for the long term definitely will help benefit that. But yeah, awesome session, guys. A lot of fun and just very well-rounded session. Feel like the hams and quads in particular just got fried. Definitely some glute work in there as well, but I'd say the hams and quads got fried. Did some good calves at the end. That was not recorded. I did do 3 working sets of toe press on the leg press machine, so it's become like my go-to calf movement, to be honest with you. Just feel like, as far as, it sounds goofy, but I guess isolating the calves, not having other limiting factors, like with a seated calf raise, I feel like sometimes there are limiting factors to that. You know, in a toe press, it's just flexion and calves, you know, pressing through. So I'm a big fan of it. Definitely been able to progressively overload that one effectively for a while now. So it's been fun to do that, and definitely have seen some good progress in my calves. So you know, what else can I do, man? That's exactly what I want to see. So yeah. So hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you got any comments or questions or feedback, drop it down in the comment section below. Make sure, if you have not already, you hit that subscribe button so you can see this ugly mug at the top of your For You page or whatever feed. You know, whenever I put a new episode of the Natty Teacher up, you'll see me right away. And yeah, very helpful for me, very helpful for the channel, so I really do appreciate it, guys. Come on in, join the Natty family. We're happy to have you, for sure. So other than that, man, that's it. That's all I got. Hopefully, again, you know, these first couple weeks here, I'll probably say it a few times, but hopefully your start to 2025 has been awesome. Do your cardio, eat healthier, make sure you're eating fruits and vegetables too. You know, don't leave those out. Don't leave those micronutrients out. Everybody focuses on the macros, which is great. Get those micros in too, man. Eat those fruits and vegetables. I promise you, they're only gonna heed major benefits for your body. I promise. I wouldn't lead you astray. Okay. So, other than that, man, God bless. And I'm the Natty Teacher, and for myself and the whole Natty family, this episode of Road to Natty Pro is out. I'll catch y'all on the next one. Yeah.